So without further ado, here's Off the Cuff with Achieng Agutu. Achieng,
Hello.
it's been a long time coming, but we're here.
We're here.
It's an honor to have you.
Honestly, thank you so much for having me. I feel like really I'm in the cut,
Yes.
in the cuff.
Yes, you are. Honestly, just being able to have you here, your presence, your energy, your vibrations, like it's everything of what you portray online, but 10 times more in person.
Wow.
So I'm just grateful to have you here. I'm grateful to, just to be able to be in the same space with you and just give you the platform.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited for today. So
It's an amazing journey, and there's so much to cover that I want to talk to you and stuff. But ultimately, before we dive into every conversation, we always like to set the intent, right? Because I think intention is super empowering, super important. And as I was coming in here, I was just like, what is my intention for this moment right now, or for the day, right? And I want to be able, and I'll kick it off, right? And I want to be able to create a space for you to be yourself, to be vulnerable, to be able to share your stories, maybe some of the things that you probably never even shared before, right? Of what it took you to get to where you are, right? So I want all the women and also men out there to feel empowered, to be confident, to live in their truth and in their power, everything that you portray. So those are my intentions for today. So I would love to learn a little bit more about what were some of the intentions that you set for the day, or maybe what's your intention in for right now.
my intentions right now, I'd say yeah, vulnerable. I think I'm trying to be a little vulnerable today. Just I love sharing my story because it allows people who look like me and talk like me and have the same life experiences like that I have to feel seen and loved and celebrated and respected. So I think that's another one of my intentions. And honestly, just to have a good time.
Yeah.
I'm a yapper.
Yes.
So I'm ready to yap. I'm ready to share. I'm ready to connect and just create a space of goodness, vibes,
Yeah.
sweetness, sexiness.
Yes, period, right? Yeah,
All the
exactly.
good things. Yes.
Exactly. It's funny though, because I on my way out, my wife was just like, "Yo, just go have fun."
Yes.
And I think ultimately are so rooted into the day to day, so sometimes we forget the element of fun, right? So I just want to be able to have fun with you, kind of go into that, storyline and stuff. So I want to kick it off, more so. A lot of people may know this, and a lot of people may not necessarily know this, right? You pretty much shifted and made a huge shift from leaving Kenya where you grew up into the US at 16 years old,
Yeah.
right? And what was it that you went to Goshen College, right? And it was something that I'm sure that it came with a lot of culture shock, a leap of faith, right? I want you to take us back to memory lane to talk about those stories, all right? Of leaving your hometown, your parents, everything that you already knew to migrate here to the US and say, you know what, I want to pursue something better for myself. Tell us about those moments and, how hard was it for you to make that shift?
Honestly, it was kind of like a cartoon moment how it happened. So I was going to this international school in Kenya and had graduated. I was 16 at the point, and my parents were like, "It just doesn't make sense for you. You feel like too young to go and experience what college is like right now at 16." And so then we were trying to figure out what I was going to do. And so I was like, probably going to move to South Africa and live with my brother or try and figure out like a leap year in Kenya. But then I was going to this amazing school called Braeburn, and my class was only me and one other person. We're only two people. Our graduating class
Wow.
was two people, and the other person in my class, his name is Isaiah, and we were really really good friends. Like it was
I mean, there's only
like
two in your class, right?
it was like yeah, we became really good friends, and then we also became really good friends with their family. And Isaiah's family was a missionary, a
Mm.
Quaker missionary family that came to Kenya to do some mission work, but they were going to, they brought their kids to this school, and so by the time he had graduated, they had finished their mission term,
Oh.
and they were going to move back to the U.S. And you know, Eden Grace, who was Isaiah's Bob and a very fabulous woman. We became really good friends, and she was one of the people who were really pushing me to get out of my little Kenyan bubble and my very conservative bubble to kind of like express myself. She said, "Listen, we're going back to the US. Do you want to come back with
Wow.
us?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, girl. Got me on the next flight."
Wow.
And so, they had to talk to my parents who were very conservative African Christian people. I'm also the last born of the family, so it felt crazy for them to let me go. But they knew they wanted better for me. That there was not that there was nothing in Kenya for me, but they saw who I was and the kind of energy I brought and the kind of creativity I had and the kind of mind I had, and they were like, it just will not be able to be cultivated in the best way in this community and in this society. You need to leave. So they said yes, and I moved to the US with them. And it was crazy. That first year was crazy. I moved to Indiana. I don't know.
Yeah.
Have you been to Indiana?
Yeah. No, I have not been to Indiana, but I'm like, out of all spaces, you go to Indiana.
Indiana.
Right.
I go right in the middle of Indiana, Richmond, Indiana. For me, I was like, girl, I'm in the US. I'm good.
Yeah.
But it was insane. My only experience of like the US was like High School Musical and Disney or like That's a Raven.
Right. Or the Ellen Show.
Oh, the Ellen Show.
Yeah. Yes.
And I was like, wait, this is crazy. Number one, I was like surprised. Like I thought like I would go into like the high school and like during lunch, like the basketball players would be like dancing and singing like High School Musical. Not a single person gave me a little chorus.
Wow.
It was like, I was like, listen, y'all are not singing. On TV, they say y'all sing.
Yeah.
And you guys are not singing right now. But the first, few months was crazy. It was hard to be away from my family. It was hard to be away from things that felt very familiar to me, from the food. Like at lunch or breakfast or dinner, sometimes people would just eat a burger or a sandwich and they'd be like, that's a meal. And I would always ask my host parents, like the family I was living with, I was like, when are we going to eat real food?
Wow.
Because I'm like, girl, this is a sandwich.
Yeah.
I need like something sustainable. And that's just like so different from cultures. Like at home, I'm eating like, I'm having chicken and rice and potatoes and vegetables and all these things and one whole meal. And then they would give me a sandwich. I'm like, what? This is so different from what I know. Or like experiencing winter and experiencing snow for the first time. It was definitely tough. I'm not gonna lie. I definitely embraced it very well because I had a family that really embraced me and my differences, and also kind of brought a little bit of my culture to the US because they lived in Kenya for a while. So that was really nice. I'm glad that I experienced that. I think I needed that.
That's so beautiful.
At 16, I grew up in a very conservative family. I was also raised as a Seventh-day Adventist, which is also a very conservative denomination. And from things to like, even like my braids right now, which normally I'm bald.
Yeah.
I'm growing it out just a little.
I love it, by the way.
Thank you. There was one time before I left to the US where I had my hair up like this in a bun. And my cousin was like, I really want to see your hair down because you think you'd look so good. And I took it down and I let it go. And I asked her, is this too much? And she said, what? You just have your hair down. How is that too much? And just like things like that, small things like that, where I was kept in this little bubble and little circle where I had to be like very humble and very quiet and very meek and like kind of like not really be seen, because that's what was closest to greatness in that space. And it's just so crazy how now my parents see me and they're like, oh, what? I'm like shouting and screaming and I'm loud and vivacious and vibrant, and it's taken a long time, but I'm glad that I experienced that. And just it's so exciting that that is something that I got to kind of live through.
I love that, and thank you so much for painting it. It's such a beautiful picture. And, we'll get to the point about, you getting out of that bubble and just flying, soaring into your greatness, into your fullness.
Yeah.
But going back to those moments really quick, because I think it's so profound. And I think so many people do take the leap of faith and being able to just strive for something more, not knowing the unknown, right? But I think for you, you did that so well. And in that gap period, right? Because you say you didn't see your family for so long. And I think it was about like 2 years before you finally saw them. I want to understand and know a little bit more of like what in that gap period and stuff, what were some of the principles or lessons that you were holding on to that your family had taught you, and maybe some of those same principles and lessons that you hold on to today?
I think my parents till this day even just like really instilled this kind of energy of going for what you want. I could have come into this space and kind of just faded into the background very easily. And my parents were just, when I moved here, they were very much like, you have to be the best. Like, there's no other option, you your only option is greatness.
Yeah.
And so whatever you need to do to feel like that or to be that, you figure it out for yourself, but you have to do that. And so, for example, like in high school, I did 1 year of high school in the US in Indiana, and I would always, always dress up every single day. When those kids were going to school in slides and socks and
Sweats, all that.
sweats and
Yeah.
all those things, which was so crazy to
Yeah, it's great.
the first time I saw somebody wearing slides and socks was in high school. I was like,
Yeah.
what is going on?
And now people are wearing Crocs to work.
Crocs to work,
Right.
But I would always dress up, right? Because my biggest thing is if I feel good, then I'm gonna walk around, this day and this world feeling just like that. And so one thing my parents have always instilled in me is that, like, you have to show up as your best so you can be your best. My dad, when we used to go shopping, grocery shopping, my dad would be in a broken down suit to go buy some eggs and juice, And it's the sense of like they just, first impression lasts. If you feel good on the outside, you feel good on the inside. Speak your mind. Like kind of like, yeah, your essence and your power is important.
For sure.
And whatever you need to do to have that actively happening throughout your day, do it.
I love that, and I think that's the epitome of who you are today, right? I think your parents' sacrifices did not go in vain.
Absolutely not.
Their prayers were answered, right? So many beautiful things. And one of the things as I was digging in, doing my homework, I was just like, one of the things that I love about you is your relationship with your parents. You speak about it already. But there's this one thing that you used to do, and you probably still do it to this day, is the 6 a.m. calls.
Yes.
Tell me about what those 6 a.m. calls to your mom just mean to you.
I needed somebody to ground me. Um, I think I was also in a place where I was a little bit like losing myself a little because I was not surrounded by the things I knew. I needed that so badly, and I still do. Like on my best days, I'm calling my mother. On my worst days, I'm calling my mother, or my dad. And I just not need, yeah, I just needed and still need someone who grounds me, who knows me. Like I'd be saying this, like me and my mom have been best since 1996. Like that's my girl. You know what I mean? Like she is the person who grounds me. She knows me the best. I can call on the phone and she is like, you sound hungry. Girl, I am. I should be eating. And like you sound sad, all these things. And I think it's important to just have someone who reminds me who I am and where I came from, because it's so easy to lose yourself in the frenzy of everything. From when I was in school to even now, it's so easy to lose yourself. And I need to constantly have something and someone who grounds me and reminds me where I've come from, what I'm doing this for, who I'm doing this for. And
Who are you doing this for?
I would say I'm doing this, the first person I'm doing this is for my younger self. I think I needed so badly someone like me when I was younger. Someone who loved so vibrantly and viciously. Someone who lived in their truth so unapologetically. I needed to see someone like that. And for a long time, I was going to wait to kind of see or find that person. And for the longest, it was like Lupita Nyong'o. She's Kenyan. She won an Oscar. She's like, it girl, da. And I was like, yeah, okay, great. Like, I need to see another person. I need to see more women. And I was like, why am I waiting for somebody else out there to be that when I could be that? I could be that. I could be the person who younger me needed to see, to feel seen and celebrated, to just feel like I belonged, And so I would say I did that for my younger self, but also I do this for my family, because I come from a family that started from very humble beginnings. Yeah, my parents have really sacrificed a lot for both me and my brother to experience the lives that we have right now. And so I also do it for my family because I really want my family to live a life they have never lived before,
Mm.
you know? Sorry, getting a little emotional.
No, absolutely not. Thank you just for sharing that.
Um, yeah, I think those are the people I do it for.
That's so beautiful. When I look back at just my lineage and I look about my family and just hearing the stories of how they shifted from their home country, which is what the Guatemala, into this new way of life. They did so much with probably a fraction of what we have today.
A fraction,
you know
literally.
and like you said, humbling stories. Like when I first learned about the way my parents came to the country, it brought me to tears. I'm like, what? You had to go through that? You had to do this, you had to do that? And I'm like, it reminds you of why you wake up every day with the energy that you should, to strive for greatness.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, for you, you do that in such a profound way. And I would love to, like, just even dig a little bit deeper there. Like, what are some of the things that you felt like, looking back, that weren't attainable but are now attainable, and you're able to give your parents such a new way of life? Because I think when they see you, they only not see like, that's my daughter, that's what I am pouring into her, but you probably also feed into them and look back at their younger self and say, wow, I'm now dreaming even more because things are attainable. Like, tell me a little bit more about the conversations that you're having. Like, what were some of the things that you're now able to give them that they probably didn't know was possible?
So like I said before, like we come from very humble beginnings. The life we lived before this, we used to live in this kind of farmhouse, kind of like I wouldn't say like I wouldn't say the village, but like far out, like in the outskirts of the major city. And I remember over Christmas, everybody would go to my grandparents' house. But then, me and my parents, it was me, my parents, me and my brother, we would have to like hitchhike. We would have to like kind of ask for somebody to come and pick us up. Like we didn't have the luxury of like having a car to take us somewhere. Kind of like my parents trying to figure out like, listen, we don't even have enough money to figure out what the kids are gonna eat this week,
Mm.
right? And that my parents kind of figure out that this we deserve better. We deserve more. Like my parents we would go and stand. We were living like I can picture this in my house in my head right now. We're living in a house on this like in a farm, and you would take a tarmac road, and right at the bottom is where you would see cars and taxis and all these things, and we would go and stand there.
Mm.
And I didn't even know. For us, it was like fun. It was like, yeah, we're outside.
Right.
God, they got us out the house. So they would take us and would go and we would stand at the bottom of this like hill, and my dad would be like, look at that car. One day I'll drive that car.
Mm.
Or picturing like there'll be families that are driving in the really nice cars, and my dad would be like, Aching, that could be you in the back one day, like things like that, right?
Wow.
And my parents just knew they wanted a little bit more for themselves and more for us, and they wanted us to live a life they've never lived.
Mm.
And so the fact that right now I can give my parents, what they give us and more,
Mm.
right? So my dad is retired right now, living his best life,
Fire.
absolutely living his best life.
Right.
And the fact that I can support them in a way where my dad does not have to worry about a bill, or where the next thing is coming from, or where the next um, meal, or how he's going to take care of his farm or his cattle, or he doesn't have to worry about that. And I think that's really exciting for me, that my mom can say, this is something I've always wanted to do, but because I was raising you guys,
Mm.
I was taking care of my family, I was taking care of my sisters, this and all these things, I couldn't do that. But now, like, my mom loves fashion,
Mm.
right? And she's always loved
I could,
fashion.
yeah, I
Get
see it.
into it. And the fact that now she can, the smallest thing of like just her inner child being like, I can walk into a store and buy whatever I want. I really want those shoes, and I don't have to feel like, oh, I won't pay that so I can get this.
Mm.
That she can just experience that. And I think the whole thing is that what I'm giving my parents is access to like living,
Mm.
and access to just experiencing life at no expense,
Yeah.
right? That I do not have to deny myself something so something else can work.
Mm.
That something else can work and I can also have a cake.
Yeah.
And that's exciting. And it brings me so much joy every single day that I can do that, and that, God has blessed me so much that I can give them what they deserve. I
Absolutely.
think that's just like so exciting.
That's such a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. And, you are doing it. Like I said, your parents' sacrifices did not go in vain. And for you to just have that level of excitement and see that, it's so inspiring. I think that's usually all we want to ever do, right? Is
Yeah.
give what they deserve and what they did so much to get us to where we are today. And as we're going through kind of memory lane, one of the pivotal moments that at least from the conversations that I saw and learned from what you had shared is, I want to go back to that pivotal moment in 2017, because I think that's where a lot has shifted for you.
Yeah.
You are known as the confidence queen. You portray so much on social media and stuff. But there was something specific and profound that you mentioned. In 2017, you said something along the lines of, I was about to lose my life because I wanted to be somebody for someone and not myself. And I think sometimes we do that so much that we start living for other people than ourselves.
Yeah.
I want you to share more about that moment when you started to realize, that you were losing yourself, but what shifted for you to decide to now get yourself out of that space to walk in your fullness, to walk in your purpose?
So in 2017, I'd been dating someone at the point who I was absolutely obsessed with, which is not a way that I think anyone should move in their lives when they have a partner. And I think you should love your partner, but I think it just felt like this was my person. And we ended up ending our relationship, which broke me,
Mm.
broke me insane. I felt like I had given so much to this relationship and so much to this person. I didn't even know who I was. I would just introduce myself as like, yeah, I'm so and so's girlfriend. And I was like, girl, what's your identity?
Mm.
But in that process of like the breakup, I just I lost myself. I thought I was no one without this person.
Mm.
And I went through a few weeks of just depression, and I wasn't eating. I was not taking care of myself. And I remember this point I was in Goshen over the summer
Mm.
doing an internship there. And I was in my room. I had a roommate, and she walked in and I was in my bed shaking,
Mm.
like violently shaking. And she was like, are you okay? All these things. And I, I was not, because I had not been taking care of myself. I was not eating. And we went to the hospital, and the doctor had said, like, if you had waited longer, your body would have started shutting down because you have not been
Wow.
eating at all. And my friend, um, my roommate, close friend as well, was just like, you cannot lose your life for someone who does not care about you.
Mm.
Because I can tell you right now, a man does not care. He's living his best life. You're here losing yourself,
Mm.
losing your essence, losing your power, losing your magic, losing your life for something and someone who does not care about you. And it was kind of like the point where I was like kind of like at I wouldn't say the brink of death. I don't think I was, going to die, but it felt like I was, and I was losing myself and I was losing my life. And we got out of the hospital and we got back to my room, and she said, you have to find a way to get back to you. And she said, I don't care if that means you climbing a mountain or damn, you're going to see a shaman, whatever. And we don't. It's just like, I don't care. You have to figure out how to get back to yourself. And
Mm.
it took some time, but I went to therapy a week later. That was very helpful. And she was like, you need to find somewhere to put your energy. What do you like? What excites you? And I said, like, I love fashion, I love traveling, I love cooking. She was like, maybe we should start a blog.
Mm.
I said, girl, you are right. Maybe I should start a blog. And so I started a blog. And the thing is that I actually had wanted to be doing this blog
Wow.
for a while, and I told it to him, and he said, "That's so dumb and stupid.
Mm.
Who's gonna read this? Nobody wants to. Nobody reads anymore. Everybody has like
Short attention
like
span.
a short attention
Yeah.
span. Like nobody's gonna sit down and read like a whole thing every week."
Right.
I thought it was dumb, but then my therapist was like, "Wait, you can do that. That's so exciting. Like share your affinity for life and why you love living and why it's exciting for you to be you." And so I started an Ordinary Noir, and it was so exciting.
Wow.
And I felt it took a long time, but just the zeal
Yeah.
to like share things I love in hopes that somebody else loves it, or just share my excitement for certain things in hopes that it can inspire someone else. My story was like so fun for me. And so that's kind of where it started. It started from a very broken version of me. And I'm so glad that, so many years later, it's turned into this space where people can come and find comfort and excitement and joy and feel like they can be celebrated and respected, which is something I had really wanted in that time of my life that I was not experiencing. And then the fact that it's morphed into this is just so beautiful.
Yeah, it is because your vibration, your energy, everything and more, right? And you're known as the confidence queen, right? You do positivity, encouragement, women's empowerment. And I think I saw one of the vlogs where you were walking around, I think it was 39 questions or something like
Oh,
that, around the
yes.
winery and
Yes, that's
stuff.
a good one.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
exactly. It was such a beautiful moment because you were just you were living, drinking your champagne, doing amazing things and stuff. But I think this is who you are, right? Living the truth, living your fullness and stuff. And I want you, and I kind of give you the platform right now, to share what are some of the things that you felt like you did immediately right after that moment. Because I think, confidence and happiness is, you have to do it consistently.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen overnight. A lot of things, and you mentioned, you went to therapy and all of these things and stuff, but I want you to kind of set the platform of what are some of the things that you did to get you to the level that you are today, and maybe share some advice for the women out there, or just even men too, who may be going through a low moment or through a low season of just trying to get themselves back up.
The very first thing I did was figure out a way that I can cut out people's opinions.
Mm.
Like that I can cut out, people will always have opinions, but cut out feeling like I need to listen to their opinions.
Mm.
That changed the way I moved so much because I was not worried. Like I would walk out in like a fur jacket and all these things and big sunglasses and a face mask and not care what anyone thought, because that's the one thing that was holding me back. That, or if I post this, oh, somebody will see it and think this of me, or if I say this, somebody will think this of me. But honey, people will talk. And when I started this, people were like, why are you posting yourself online? It's
Mm.
so cringe and weird, like you're putting yourself out there. But the thing that I learned is that they will talk. Can I curse?
Yeah, absolutely.
They will talk their shit
Yeah.
and say it to your face and say it's weird and cringy and dumb. But at the end of the day, they will ask you, how did you do it?
Mm.
Oh, how did you get this partnership? How did you say? Because, honey, I cut off people's opinions of me. You can say what you want about me. It's not going to affect me in any single way, in any way. So listen, cut out those people's opinions from your life. Okay? They will talk and talk and talk and talk, and they will live your lives, but you need to live your life because you have one life. Okay? You live every day and you die once. If you need to do something in your life today, tomorrow, and the days after that to get you to where you need to be and your best version, you got to do that. So cut those people's opinions. Done. That was the first thing I did.
Yeah.
Period. The second thing is that I made myself my biggest hype woman.
Mm.
I had to be rooting for myself more than the next person,
Mm.
because you can't wait for the motivation. You cannot wait for the inspiration. You cannot wait for the vision, because those things will come when you start working on yourself and working for yourself.
Mm.
You can't wait for somebody to come and say, get up. You deserve to live this life. You can wait for that for years. I was tired of waiting for something or someone to come and tell me that you need to be living for yourself. So I made myself my own biggest hype woman. One thing I am is obsessed
Mm.
with myself. Okay? There is nothing, no one, anything that can make me not feel like that.
Wow.
Okay? And it took me so long. I had a picture of myself on my screensaver, and one of my friends, we're not friends anymore. Anyway, but one of my friends is like, why would you do that? Why can't you just put like a background of like a sunset or something? Why is it your face? Why not?
Mm.
Okay, why can't I love myself? Why can't I be just obsessed with myself? Is that, that's so wrong. And I think there's so many places and spaces that tell people that you can't love yourself. If you love yourself too much, it's arrogance. If you love yourself too much, it's obsession. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Okay. The third thing would be I was just tired of being humble. Oh, I'm so tired of that. That I need to connect myself to, which I love humility, right?
Mhm.
But that I have to be humble and make myself small and make myself, like, kind of like minute, so that not too many people can see me. Honey, I want to be seen.
Mm.
I want to be felt. I want to be heard. I want to be smelt. Honey, I want it all. I want it all. So yeah, just taking away, like, honey, you've been humble for way too long. Like, I need you to act up in a way that makes you feel like you are it. You are them. You're him.
Mm.
You're her. You deserve that. Okay? Like, you really have one life. One life. My host mother, Eden Grace, who brought me to this country, she's the one who saw a vision in me.
Yeah.
She casted me in The Lion King for our school play and said, listen, you're a star.
Wow.
You are a star. And you need to figure out a way to make that real.
Mm.
Um, Eden passed away 2 years ago from cancer,
Mm.
but she was at her prime,
Mm.
right? She had just quit her job, and I'm so sorry.
Okay.
A job that she put her entire life in and wanted to do a PhD in London. And so she went to London and was just like realizing, like, yo, why does my stomach look so big?
Mm.
She came back, she got diagnosed with ovarian cancer, but she was at her prime, in the place in her life where she felt like she could do the things that she wanted to do
Mm.
and live the life she wanted to live. And she passed away 6 months after that. And like that reminded me that, like, life is so short,
Yeah.
and that she had put away doing the things she actually wanted to do so that she can serve people. And she did it so well. But like when she decided to like live for herself, she lost her life. Literally, she passed. And so, you know, you just can't live your life for people. You can't. I hope I'm a pretty crier right
You
now.
are. You are.
I'm trying my best.
Trying to see what we got.
Yeah, you can't live your life for other people. You can't live it to make people like you or want to be around you. You just have to live it for yourself. So fuck being humble. Fuck people's opinions.
Mm.
And you have to be writing for yourself so hard. So hard, like people think you're crazy. Because you just have to live life vivaciously. I think it's honestly a must. In this economy, especially, it's a must.
Achieng, just thank you. Thank you for sharing that beautiful story. And it's funny though, because as I was hearing you, I'm like, she definitely did see something in you. And sometimes we need to have those people in our circle and in our orbit to be like, you know what, I believe or I see something in you before you see it in yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what she did for you. So thank you for just being so honest, so real, so vulnerable. And, may her legacy live on, right? May her story continue to live on. And
Amen.
I think what you are doing day to day is a part of her saying, you know what? Someone gave me an opportunity, a chance. And this is what's to come on top of your family and everything involved. So just thank you. I want to honor you. I want to celebrate you for everything that you continue to do because from where you started and where you sacrificed to where you are, it's a living testimony, right?
Yeah.
And I want to talk a little bit more about those moments, right? You were named 2024 Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Rookie, right? You've been on every, I would say, cover of publications that I've seen. Like it's a beautiful journey to see that and be in that moment. But something I want people to know, and I want to set the stage for you, is like, how did our opportunity come about? Because I know, through my homework, it wasn't easy, but it,
No.
it it was sometimes the epitome of what rejection looks like, and what rejection looks like is sometimes redirection for another blessing.
Yes.
So give us a story, give us that testimony.
Oh, I have a testimony.
Yeah.
I have a story. Um, so listen, I have gotten a lot of rejection in my life. And for a long time, I just used to think like, oh my God, why didn't I get that? I deserve that, all these things. But I think things really happen for a reason.
Mhm.
And I really trust the process. Like one example is when I was in grad school, I was applying to work at Condé Nast
Mm.
at Vogue. I
Right.
wanted to work at Vogue so bad. Oh my God. I was like, yes, me and a winter in New York, cute vibes, stunning. It just made sense, you know?
That's yeah.
And so I applied. I did the first interview. At the second interview, they were like, listen, love you, but can't do this. I said,
Mm.
no, please. I literally was begging on that call. I said, listen, please. And the reason is because like I was an international student and they could give me 1 year of work, but then after that they would have to like sponsor my visa, which they were like, we can't do that at Condé Nast, and we love you, love your work, you'd be great here, but we just can't work with you. I said, please. They said no. I said, great. So heartbreaking, so devastated. That same year is the same year that I decided to like leave corporate and leave that and then go as a full-time influencer. And I was in 2021, the fall of 2021. And I was like, okay, great. This is a great journey. I'm really excited. That January,
Mhm.
I get an email from Vogue saying, hey, can we feature you? I said, stop. Listen, I was fighting to be working in the cubicle when I should have been in the magazine.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. That rejection was a redirection.
Wow.
Okay? Because things happen for a reason. And all the no's you have gotten are directing you to that big yes.
Mm.
Every single time. Every single time. With Sports Illustrated, the month I applied to Sports Illustrated, I was applying to to Ford models to be a model on their roster.
Mm.
They accepted me. Um, I was like, great. I'm about to be signed by Ford. This is
Yeah.
huge. I go on like a vacation. I come back. The person who was supposed to be signing me left.
Mm.
And so the lady who now was taking over was like, yeah, so we just can't have you. We just don't think you fit the mold. I said, what do you mean? They were like, yeah, just like, you're short, you're fat, you can't. I
Wow.
said, oh, okay. So that same month, Sports Illustrated had a swim search where they opened it up to just people around the United States to apply. So I applied and I said, God,
Mm.
let this be for me. Universe, stop, make this happen. A few months later, they're like, listen, we love you. We love everything you stand for. I think you'd be a great addition to the Sports Illustrated family. Shot for the magazine. My manager was like, you know what you need to do? You need to go and email these magazines to Ford. And I
Yes, you
did.
do.
And I did. And I had one signed. And I said, y'all didn't think I had the capacity to be a part of y'all. But listen, the world thought I could be. And I was. And then I was in Sports Illustrated. And more exciting things to come.
Wait, wait, wait.
But I think that was just such enough, like an affirmation for me in my life and my journey, that my story is important and that people want to hear it, and that people want to celebrate it, and that I will only go to places and be in spaces where I'm celebrated, where I'm loved, where I am seen. Because listen, I could have gone and tried to fight for me to be at Ford. I've gone to find a way for me to fight to work at Vogue when there was greatness waiting for me, you know? And I think that those are things that you just have to keep moving. You have to trust the process on those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look at that. Congrats. Let's get it. The signed autographed and all of that, man. Yes, it's such a beautiful thing because I think sometimes, like you said, greatness right after that projection, there's greatness right around the corner for you and stuff. You got to just stay laser focused in that, and, honestly, I could be here for hours with you, right? But as we making our way kind of towards the end of the questions here, one of the things I always gravitate back to is those lessons, those gems, right? Like, I think your dad used to always say, rejection is just redirection, right? And other things that your parents used to say is, Aching, you're going places because the world, God has plans for you, right? Don't waste your life. It's too precious for that, right? I want to understand because I know you talk about staying rooted into your faith and staying rooted into who you are as a person, right? Talk to me about the importance of holding on to your faith in moments where things get tough, and how has it helped guide you throughout the process?
The thing is, I serve a very big God, a very big God, a living one too.
Amen.
Um, I think I am because God is. I cannot, I think it would be selfish of me to say that who I am today has only been because of my hard work. I think it's selfish for me to say that because it's not true. It has come from prayers of my grandparents who prayed this before I was born. It's
Yeah.
come from prayers of my grandparents' parents. It's been a lineage of blessings that have found me. Okay? So it is the one thing that reminds me of who I am, why I'm here, what I am doing. Like the things I am experiencing in my life right now are surreal. Only things that I could have imagined, only things that my parents could have prayed for, you know? Like I see this, like my dad, every time he picks up my phone, or anytime my mom picks up my phone, they're always like, "Are you really our daughter?" They're like, "Is this a prank?" They're like, "Ashton Krisher, come out the trees. Is this real?" Because I am living my grandparents, my great grandparents' wildest dreams. Wildest dreams. I'm living my wildest dreams. The fact that I can even be here, seated with you, talking to you, is only because of divine power. That something along my journey and your journey happened, that you could have a platform, an amazing platform like this to talk to beautiful people, that I could have a platform and a story that I could share, right? So for me, I am because God is, and it is the biggest thing that has continued to push me through this journey, you know. And my dad and my parents, well, my parents are very staunch Christians who pray for so much in my life. And my dad, like for example, for Sports Illustrated, I told my dad, listen, I applied for Sports Illustrated. Go and pray about that. Please, friend. The thing is that he was even saying, when he was praying, he was like, God, please, I guess. He was not even, he was like,
Me again.
he was like, it's me again. Please. And the thing is that he says this till this day, he did not even know how that was going to happen.
Wow.
He said, that's the one thing he's prayed for. He said, I don't even know how that is going to come past. And so when I called him and I told him, he said, listen, after this, I'm praying for a Range Rover. And because listen, that was huge for us, And that was like something just so insane and has completely changed my life. Sorry, this just came to my mind, and then I'll stop yapping.
Nah, you good.
The other reason I do what I'm doing is for young Black women, young African women, young Kenyan women specifically, to see that it's possible.
Mm.
It's possible that you can have a dream and that it can work. And that if you put yourself out there, walk in faith, do the things today, tomorrow, and the days after that, that can get you to that next level, if you put your head down and work hard, because I think people think I'm just shouting on the internet and drinking champagne. Like, listen, I put in so much work. I don't think people understand like what's happening behind the scene. I have an amazing team that supports me, but I also put in so much work every day. But I want that young girl who sees me to know that it's possible,
Mm.
regardless of your circumstance, regardless of your background. Because I can tell you, I come from a small town in the western part of Kenya, and I really came from nothing.
Mm.
I really, really came from nothing. And the fact that I can be doing this is because I saw a vision. I saw a life I wanted, and I said, I gotta have that.
Mm.
I need that. That is my portion,
Yeah.
And I think I really want young Black women out there to know that it's possible and that it only takes an ounce of believing in yourself to have that happen.
I love that. I got the goosebumps. I'm ready to run a mile. I'm ready to really take on the world and stuff. Aching, what are some of the things that you're manifesting right now? Like, what is it that we're expecting? Because I know you have a vision board that from here to here, like, what are some of the things that we can just honestly, keep pouring that good energy your way?
I'm manifesting a lot of peace in my life
Mm.
right now. I hope so. It's coming though. It's here. I feel it. I feel very at peace. I feel just happy in myself. I am manifesting just bigger things. I want more growth in my career. I want more growth in my life. And so, yeah, I guess growth. I'm manifesting you introducing me to one of your friends.
Yeah. Let's get it. Listen,
Let's
there's gonna be millions of people watching this and stuff, so we're gonna make it happen.
we gonna make it happen. And I'm just continuing to manifest greatness and influencing the culture. I think that is something that excites me and something I want to continue doing till my final breath.
Mm.
And so I am manifesting more experience there, more growth there, more opportunity there, because it is the best thing for me to connect with my community and continue to just like have that grasp, in these spaces. And I hope that forever and ever I can experience that.
That's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. Well, Aching, I definitely want to take this time just to give you your flowers.
Oh my God.
For being so vibrant, so honest, so you, rich with fullness of just gratitude, of humility, but also you have this vibration coming from your spirit and your energy that just makes you just want to be a part of that, and I think you do some amazing job online, but more importantly offline. What I'm experiencing right now is the true epitome of not only are you embracing and moving the culture forward, but you're genuinely a good person
Oh wow.
from like the rootest and deepest bone of you, who you are as a person. And that's why, offset, I congratulated your dad, just saying, yo, thank you for just raising such a beautiful woman who you are, because that's what you portray. So I just wanted to give you your flowers for that.
Thank you so much.
Uh,
I really appreciate that. And thank you for, creating a space that felt so safe
mm,
and a space where I felt like I could just really share and pour my heart to you. So thank you for that. And honestly, I speaking so much life to you. You're a fabulous human. We just met, but I really just feel such greatness for you. And so much love, much power
that's love.
to you, friend.
Thank you. Well, tell your dad to pray for us and
I
so because we want to take want to take it to the moon. You know what I'm
love
saying?
it.
But
I love
Ching, in the process of us asking that question, I really appreciate and I accept all of that. We always offer the platform to you to share. Who would you give your flowers to?
Ooh, I have to give a name.
Name, if you want to give a name, or just anybody, that first person that came to mind, or people.
I wanna give my flowers to two people. I wanna give my flowers to my manager, Christina. Um, I call her Chris Jenner on my phone. I'm actually going to get my phone, but her name on my phone is Chris Jenner because she is my momager. She
Wow.
is a woman who rides for me so badly. And I think that is so exciting to have somebody in your corner who believes in you more than you believe in yourself. I want everybody to have that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give my flowers to my girl, Christina. Then I also want to give my flowers to my parents. You know, they raised a real one.
Yeah. That's it.
They raised a real one. Really, they are icons and they raised an icon. And they have just continued to remind me that I deserve the best in life and that this is just the beginning of the life I can be experiencing, the influence I can have, the community I can build. So yeah, to my manager, my team, and mi padres.
I love that. Let's get it.
She's bilingual, honey.
Yes.
Play with her.
Listen.
Bilingual.
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
Let's get it. Achieng, last question, and I'll promise you. For everybody watching this right now, what's your final message, your final thoughts, for everybody just tuning in right now?
Can I speak to a camera or
Yeah,
to you?
sure.
I was speaking,
No,
I was speaking to you too.
Yeah, speak. Yeah, listen, we're here.
I was speaking to you too. I would say, listen, you're enough. Okay? A little anecdote is on a free day, go to your favorite supermarket. I'm a Whole Foods girl. Trader Joe's sometimes, but Whole Foods. And go into the water aisle and look at all the water brands that they have put in that aisle. Water like this. That is free for most people, that is available, that somebody can put Voss, can put Fiji, can put Evian, all these things on a whole aisle of water and people will go and buy. If there's enough space in the water market for people to come up with a new water brand every single month, literally every single year, why is there not enough space for you with a unique story, with a unique background, with a unique creative angle to live, to be creative, to bring something to life, to start a business, to be a creator, to go and get that job, all these things? Why is there not enough space for you if there's enough space for 10 million water brands to stay in a water aisle and for people to come in and buy whatever, like the specific water they want? Because there's people who are like, listen, I only drink Voss, I only drink Fiji, I only drink this. Have they gone out of business? Have you heard Fiji going out of business? No. So in a saturated market, like a water brand, where there's damn near 10,000 water brands, why is there not enough space for you? Yeah, look me in the eye. Thank you. You're enough. You deserve to be living the life you want. You deserve to be doing the things that you deserve. And yeah, plus just do it. Do it. Nobody cares. The only person who's holding you back from your greatness is you. So live, sister, brother. Thank you.
Boom. Let's get it, Achieng. That's a blessing. Well, Achieng, again, like, it's an honor to have you. We wish you so much success in all the fruitfulness that life has to offer.
Thank you.
You deserve it. So thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so delicious.
Let's get it.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm hungry too. You feel me?
I love that.
Well, there you have it. And that was Off the Cuff with Achieng Agutu. Let's get it.